Next on the DragonShip. Those very wise and handsome warriors on the DragonShip prove once again why they hold the title of the real Manoshpererian oracles, by how they sought the wisdom from all the mystical, magical know-it-alls from all the corners of the earth.
Don't go blindly through life. Let me use the power of the tarot to show you the way. Call me now for your free reading.
Magic 8-Ball, please tell me, will Ruslan stop deflecting and actually debate me this year? I guess we'll never know. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the hottest names in the red pill last year and give you our predictions on where they're going to be at the end of 2023. Don't worry, I have hope for Jack Murphy. I really do. Don't know why, but I do. And of course, we have to give our predictions on what the title of Rollo's next book will be. Me personally, I think it's going to be The Rational Male: How Haters Keep Me Famous. So make sure you don't miss this Saturday's episode of The DragonShip while we give you our predictions on the outcome of 2023. It's going to be hilarious, I gotta say. You'll be definitely entertained. So make sure you watch The DragonShip at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, right after Rule 0.
Welcome to the DragonShip. Skull, what a great introduction. That's fantastic. I don't know. 2023 predictions of the Manoshpererians. I love that Mount Red Pillmore picture, Glenn. Let's bring everybody up. Glenn, Mount Red Pillmore. How cool is that?
Yo.
Yeah,
man. That was a little fun. I had to come up with something creative this time. I had to give us something, that just says like we are motherfuckers to listen to. And nothing says that like your picture on the mountain.
Listen to something, that's for sure. That is a mountain. I don't know, maybe it's a mountain of something, that's for sure, because we can throw down with the best of them, can't we?
Oh yeah.
2023. I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but it might be just a little bit dim, but we could see it. And so today we're going to talk about predictions, what we think of the Manosphere, and we're actually going to call out some names and say, hey, where are they going to be at the end of the year? This will be very general though. And then we might even generally talk about, what we think about, where most of the Manosphere, where the guys that come into it, where they're going to be. What about the incels? What about the simps? What about the alphas? The omegas, the sigmas, the zetas, the betas, and the alphas. Who knows? But we'll just kind of try to cover it all in a really fast roundabout way today. And I think it should be fun. We're going to pull on all oars here on the DragonShip because our motto, it's a rising tide lifts all ships. And we are that rising tide. Bring me back up to everybody and let me introduce the panel. So with that, we have myself, which is RP Thor. You know me. Glenn Laurence. Yo. Phil Foster from Phil Foster Fitness. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
What's up?
Yep. And we got Paul Bauer from Come On Man Podcast. You guys need to go and listen. Paul's an amazing podcaster and quite an interviewer. And he's got some really cool stuff. Love it.
Yeah. You guys go check out his course. And you know what? If you want to, just go to my link tree and go get his course. And then you guys hook me up with a little bit of kickback. All right. But no, I reviewed his course that he just came out with.
Yeah, tell us.
It's a really legit course. Like it is a solid course. And it's really interesting. It's really interesting. I like the way that he presented it. I mean, this is his first course from what I understand. So, I mean, I'll just drop my phone, but it's not like, so some flashy course with a whole bunch of bells and whistles. No, it's actually really plain and simple. He gives you the information that you need without all the bullshit that you don't need, so definitely you guys go check out his course. And if you want, go to my link tree to go get it. And then you help a brother out.
Yeah, it's it just for the people out there, it's on the law of attraction, but it's chick crack free. Okay. There's no zodiac signs and crystals and shit in it. It's basically a course on mindset and how to reprogram your subconscious to achieve goals and work towards those goals. So
Yeah, like he didn't, get any, crystals or any other weird shit going on in there.
I did have a magic 8-ball in it, but
You did.
We got to have something, I got to look, a little bit, Right on. Mark Daniels, Mark's Inspiration, always putting out inspirational messages daily.
Yeah,
I see,
glad to be
at
here.
least on Instagram and YouTube. So welcome, Mark. Appreciate you. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good. We're going to do our 2023 predictions, and it's just going to be free form, just, whatever we think. And if we don't think anything, that's good too.
Well, I'll get out my crystal ball then.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I got.
Just
so you know, Paul, like I totally took the magic 8-ball clip from your video. Like that was inspired me to throw it in the promo for this.
The promo.
Yeah, I was like, I need a magic 8-ball now.
Nice. My good friend Raith Deantior finally on the mend from like multiple assaults from the beer bug, man. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
I said, yeah, I'm getting there, I think. So we'll see how the voice holds up through all this.
Okay, good deal. Well, we want to hear from you. That's for sure. You always have good insights on stuff. So we're glad to see that you are on the mend. And for everybody in the chat, welcome. Looks like the chat's starting to fill up. And I want to let you guys know, you want to contribute to the show right now, you absolutely can. RP Thor channel is now able to accept super chats and memberships. There'll be some extra videos coming for members that want to join to support this content. And when you do that, you support more than just RP Thor. You actually support the DragonShip channel on its way towards monetization, and that includes every panel member gets promoted off of the DragonShip. The DragonShip is not only our panel show right here, but it is also our own channel, which has playlists of each individual creator. So you can look at those playlists too and find their content there. It's just our way to reach out and reach more people with what we feel is good, actionable advice. Well, it's good advice anyway, and it's more common sense based. I mean, sometimes we get hot under the collar, and the YouTube master's got to whip us down a little bit, but we try to be good there. You can also find us on Rumble, and hopefully soon we will be able to come up with locals and some specific information. Also, we have this month premiering an additional show for the DragonShip, which is the Trident. Right, Glenn? That's our first 2023 prediction is we have the Trident. Tell us a little bit about the Trident. It's a little bit more rough and tumble, a little bit more risky.
Yeah, so the Trident is a 3-man show. It's with myself, Thor, and Phil Foster. And we kind of like talk about the topics that we actually talk about here, but where we get to go a little bit more in depth and give some more personal opinion and experience to how to deal with these situations when it comes to relationships or dating as they come across. These are things that we all have either coached somebody through or experienced ourselves. And whether we learn from, trial and error, or whether we learn from witnessing and helping other people, we kind of give you guys a 30-minute to an hour video on specific topics, and it's going to be great. It's going to be really good. The last one that we did, I must say, it was one that Mr. Dr. Philip Anya cannot be a part of, but Thor and I did about the importance of hoes. Was a very interesting and awesome topic.
They have a place in society, and we love the 304s dearly.
They are valuable to a degree.
And just so you know, when this comes out, it is a shorter format. It's not long format like this one. And we do that on purpose because it's kind of it's kind of a gun and run sort of situation, if you know what I mean. So, and I sure appreciate my co-host, Glenn and Phil. So let's get right into it. I just wanted to mention to the chat again, we can do super chat. You want to jump over to RP Thor, no problem. I am going to look for you guys in the chat. Danny Arnold, I'm calling you out. We're going to do some predictions. I'll include you, Phil, and myself, and Glenn will watch the chat and see if you got some predictions as we bring these names up. Let us know what you think. If they're reasonable predictions, we will put them on the screen. I promise you. Chat, you're a part of the DragonShip. Let's bring it up. So
yes, chat. And if you really want your comment seen, you got to go comment on Thor's and send it in as a super chat. Then that guarantees your comment will be seen.
Yeah, and consider joining the channel too. It helps support all of us. So with that, Glenn, you have the list. Let's chat.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You know, let's start with the number one. Let's start with the one that everybody has been talking about since, I don't know, like over a week ago. Let's talk about Mr. Andrew Tate.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Andrew Tate, you know, we all know that he's recently been detained by the government of Romania on some pretty harsh charges that have to do with sex trafficking or money laundering. And there's a whole list of things that from the rumor mill has it that he's being allegedly investigated on. So what are your guys' thoughts? Like, Andrew Tate has been, in this past year, been a very polarizing individual in the manosphere. I mean, he was the most Google search person in the world, from what I understand. He also, you know, is known from his kickboxing, you know, days to being on the Big Brother UK to, you know, being a quote unquote internet pimp with the webcamming businesses. And now he is known as this voice for young men and, you know, encouraging men to man up and do manly shit. But where do we see him at the end of the year? Is he still going to be on this path, or do we think that these new this new court issue or new legal issue might actually kind of keep him quiet through the rest of the year?
Let's go ahead. I'll go last. Let's just go ahead and go round table and Glenn direct it.
All right, Phil, let's start with you. Phil, let's start with you, and then I'll go after or right before Thor.
Yeah, man. I just think this thing is going to continue to perpetuate. Obviously, I saw something on Value Entertainment where they went ahead and seized his cars and to pay for the investigation. You know, once again, that was through Valuetainment. I don't know how accurate that is. I think it's a bunch of crap personally, and I think nobody knows until all the cards drop, and that's all I'm going to say on the Tates. Zach and I did a Tuesday teardown on the channel, and we talked about that, hit both sides of the coin. And I think that, you know, once again, I think until all the truths come out, whether one way or the other, you know, it's just best to be a man, if you are a man, and sit back and logically look at the situation and assess it once all of the information is presented. I just can't see that those two gents are as capable of what they're accused of. And I think that if, unfortunately, something nefarious did happen in their past and they got to answer for it, don't necessarily fault them because their message is solid. You know, they've helped lots of people in this space all around the world. I mean, guys are starting to wake up. And I think that when you look at something like this, it's just unfortunate. And that's the price you pay with, you know, becoming an individual that is in the public eye. And that's all I'm going to say about those two guys. I think they're both solid, and I love their message. And I'm just going to sit back and wait until all of the information is out and available.
Cool. Raith, what is your prediction on Andrew Tate this year?
Yeah, I really don't have any predictions on Andrew Tate. I'm not a big follower of Andrew. I think, you know, I can't agree with Phil. I think, you know, the message is there. How it's presented, it's not a way I would present it, but that's me. And you know, he has every right to go out and present himself and his program and his message the way he wants to present himself. But like I said, I'm not sitting in Romania. I haven't been to a house over there, so I don't know of anything that's gone over there, and I'm not judging any of that. So
yeah,
it's just it's unfortunate that, you know, people can make claims and unsubstantiated claims and at least start a person down the path of ruination without any evidence or any proof that anything happened. But that's the cancellation society we live in these days, you know, and we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah. Laurent, Mr. Tokyo Man, what do you think? It's what is going to be the prediction for Andrew Tate by the end of 2023?
It reminds me of every freedom fighter. Like, for instance, there was a classic one. My favorite was Malcolm X, for instance, Malcolm Little, Malcolm Shabazz, Hajj Malcolm X. He had very bad publicity in the public eye, but it stayed there until it was taken away. So no matter what happens to them, they will even if they cured cancer, even if they created a life out of a block of carbon, even if they sent somebody to Mars, the bad reputation is tarnished forever. So no matter what they do, I think they're going to stay in the public eye. And like they said themselves, first time they get cancelled, second time they trump charges, and third time they get killed. Who knows? I think they'll still be around for the time being, but I wish them very well. They've done a lot to the community. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Paul from Mr. Come On Man. Come on, man.
Come
podcast.
on, man.
Come on, man. What are your thoughts on the Andrew Tate issue? Do you think he's going to be a big driving force as he was in 2022?
Yeah, I do. I think he and his brother are either going to beat it or they're going to pay off somebody because, you know, there's a lot of corruption in that country. And then they're probably going to move to like Dubai or something to avoid that situation going further. That's just my prediction. As far as like their message, I actually really like how Tate does things, right? Because I'm a pro wrestling fan, right? Tate is the modern day Ric Flair. You know what I mean? The Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. And he uses that pro wrestling type psychology to get his message out. That creates a little bit of entertainment. He's a natural heel. So like the people that, you know, don't like his message, that are a little maybe blue pilled or feminist or whatever, he's a bad guy to them, right? But to a lot of guys in the manosphere, he's like, they root for that guy. He's like Steve Austin that way. So he's really smart because he uses that entertainment factor to get the message out and get the red pill a little more mainstream, whether that's good or bad. I don't know. I actually think it's a good thing because we have had a masculinity problem for a very long time. And that's why a lot of people are gravitating towards that message. You know, he just, you know, a lot of people just don't like the tone, you know what I mean? But it's not like the message is bad, but yeah, no, prediction wise, I think he'll beat it. I think he'll beat it or, you know, he'll get out of it and then probably flee the country and, continue what he's doing. I think he's just going to continue to grow.
Good prediction.
Yeah, that's a solid prediction. Randall.
So for the Tate brothers, I honestly think they'll be fine. Like it's like these men have grown up through terrible childhood, living in like the government housing all the way up to where they are now. This is just going to be another bump in their story. And like the saying goes, people love to see a hero fall. And these men are heroes to a lot of younger guys. And society wants to see them fall so badly. And I think because they want them to fall so badly, that Andrew and Tristan and everybody who is associated with the Tates is going to fight that much harder to fight against it. So I think by the end of 23, the Tates will be fine. They might be in another country, but I think it's the real world is what they call it now, is going to be just as successful, if not even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. That's actually an interesting position. Yeah. Mark Daniels, what are your thoughts on the Tates?
Well, I don't really know what to think. I'm not sure what'll happen. Of course, he's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. As most of you guys know, he's been speaking this for quite some time now, what was going to happen to him. They tried to eliminate his stand on social media, and that didn't work. Actually made him greater. And now they're trying to lock him up. I just know that because of my own involvement with the system before, I had to leave the country for 6 years for false charges, similar to what from a woman. But I know that the government, if they want to have evidence, they can create it. And they can make it however they want to play it. So that's what a lot of people don't realize. They think, well, if he gets a good lawyer and, you know, he's got money, it doesn't matter. Depending on who he's standing up against here, and I don't know who it is. And if it is, let's say it's not true, or whether we will never know whether it's true or not, whether they have evidence or they don't have evidence, because they can create the evidence. It's simple. So I can't even make a prediction on it, but I predict it's going to be a difficult road for him. And his third prediction, as you guys know, was if he gets through this one and he continues to talk, they will eliminate him, which I believe is true also. You can't. I mean, I knew it was coming, and probably you guys did too, because he speaks out so much against the mainline system. And if you've noticed how the mainline news media, they're saying things about him, like he says he's a confirmed misogynist. That's not true. He never confirmed he was. And other things they said he's done, but they leave out part of it as kind of like a sin by omission. They don't tell the whole story. They just tell a part of it. It makes him look like a bad guy. So there are definitely some forces against him. I would love to see him come out on top. If I were to advise him, if he gets out of this, I would say best to keep quiet. I mean, really, for his own safety. If he doesn't tone it down, then his third prediction may come true.
Interesting. I think that's a reasonable prediction.
Yeah. My prediction on Tate. Honestly, I'm not going to speak on the case because I really don't have any knowledge of what, has transpired and what evidence they have against them. I do know that they have statements, and I don't ever really believe statements. I like evidence. So unless the statements are supported by evidence, I think then he would be in the clear. He'll be good. I do think that it's kind of conspiratory to kind of silence him the way that they're trying to do it. I think it's a way that the gynocentric social order, cabal, is trying to, use him as an example. Like, look, man, you better fall in line or you're going to be arrested just like Tate. I mean, I do kind of see that thing playing out. But, I think if anything, if he beats it, all this is going to do is make his head bigger and make him be even more vocal and more of a force to be reckoned with. If this does silence him for whatever reason, due to whatever the legal issues are, I do think this might actually, be a big hit on the manosphere and the red pill space when it comes to credibility wise. Because it might leave us with a black eye, if he does have to do some time. But that's just my opinion. We'll see. Thor, what do you think?
Interesting. Okay, so Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate. I think there's 3 major threats that went out at such a high level they have to be addressed, and he's well aware of this. And let's just start with the easy one, okay, which is he is a threat to the technocracy and the media that's associated with it because he broke the algorithm of social media and propelled himself to, an incredible amount of fame and infamy and influence almost overnight. And think about that just for a minute. That kind of influence started to usurp big tech's influence politically. And if you think about it, who is the one that's probably the worst about being hateful to him is the one he wasn't even on, which is TikTok, which is run by BitDance, which is owned by the Communist Chinese Party. That kind of influence over millions of young men could be viewed as extremely dangerous by them because they like to control that. But the second part of it is politically. His political message leans slightly different than what the popular media wants. And it's shocking to their sensibilities under communitarianism and the way political speak is done today. That's very shocking. It's going to anger a lot of academics because it goes against what they've been preaching for many, many years. And then the real sneaky one is when I talk about academics, I can just jump over to Teen Vogue and look at this article from 3 days ago, and it's in politics. It's labeled in the politics section, and it says career misogynist Andrew Tate detained in human trafficking investigation. Pretty damn interesting. They don't even give him the benefit of the doubt, right? That's exactly what it is. Didn't say alleged. It says career misogynist, right? And then on top of that, staying with this one theme politically, you have a podcast that went out 12 hours ago with a woman named Eliza Belu. And I believe that this is part of the big tech and the political system really causing a massive distraction because of the damage that was done. She's a blue-haired woman, and she has a history. And she has organized this thing on human trafficking, and she's a reformed Democrat, supposedly kind of delving into tradcons now. Her name is Eliza Bilou right now. She was on Timcast. Watch it. It's pretty interesting. She has now found 2 victims that have prepared statements, obviously prepared by publicists and lawyers, about being raped by Andrew and Tristan Tate. This hasn't been a charge, but these are victims. And she set up a website just for this now. And so she's not only doing this for her holy mission against human trafficking, which is fine, but she's doing this in such a way as to apply pressure and maybe even influence the country that he's in. So I looked into her just a little bit, just so you know what's going on here. That's not her real name. Her original name was Eliza Cutts. And it was pretty interesting what her history is. She jumps from identity to identity and from issue to issue. She's famous for dating some musician at one time. So yeah, she likes the limelight, and just keep in mind, this is the kind of things that just gets jumped out at her at the Tates right now. It's going to get more and more intense, but I do believe this is a distraction in 2023. Why would I say that? Because the real deal is money. I think that money's been spent to start an investigation, and you can find it in the complaints. Now they're looking at possible money laundering and essentially racketeering is what they call it over there, but they call it something different. I don't think he's paid enough taxes, in their opinion. He hasn't given that local government their due, and they can make up anything they want. So he is in a tough bind when it comes to the financial situation. One way or the other, he's in for a very difficult ride financially. Is he prepared for it? Has he spread out enough funds? Possibly. But remember, there is huge forces that'll put pressure on the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the central banks to look for whatever assets might be associated with him. He says he has nothing. That might have been a good move. But the question is, does he have enough resources to minimize at least the direct threat that Romania is putting him under? And they're under intense pressure, if you notice, from the U.S. and Britain. In the complaint, the USA and Britain has been announced as containing victims of the Tates. And lo and behold, this woman, Eliza, that went on Timcast, has 2 victims, from Britain. And she has publicly put their statements out, yet there's no charges yet. So it's an interesting dynamic. I think one way or the other, the outcome for the Manosphere is a rough ride, because we'll always be associated, but he'll also become a martyr to the Manosphere. His message essentially is not a bad message, regardless of what is said. His message is very needed in this space. So my prediction for the Tates is they got a bit of a rough ride, but I do think there will be a recovery one way or the other, because once they can get their message back out, they're kind of going to be held as martyrs. At least that's the millions that have become fans. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and the thing is, I could literally see everybody's prediction kind of play out to a degree. I mean, we weren't really gonna say Tate's gonna be the next president of the United States or anything, but we did. I could definitely see any one of our predictions kind of play out by the end of the year. Moving on.
Quick question. Just because the money thing, I think, is the real driver here, and everything else is a distraction on purpose.
Yeah, I want
to bring Laurent in as our resident financial guy about money, international funds, things like that. And if you're aware of Andrew Tate and you're aware of the complaint, what is your briefest of thoughts when it comes to this whole situation and knowing that money laundering? Oh shoot, we're getting the doggone feedback again.
Hey, Laurent, can we switch to the other mic for a second, bud? Let's pull you out and switch your mics. You and I will work on that after the stream, buddy.
Yep.
Let's while he's switching mics, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is Pearly Things. All right, so Pearl or Pearly Things, as her channel name is, she literally came out of the gate nowhere last year. She started last year her channel, and end up not even really 2 years or a year and a half. She already has over 1 million subscribers. She is one of the leading female forces in the red pill space. and many people would, consider her a very strong proponent for the red pill. Other people would consider her, just to be a female parrot that's just, parroting, key topping points from either Rollo or other, guys in this space like Paul from Apex Mindset or something. But what are you guys' thoughts on her? Like, what do you see her doing? Me personally, I think she
running a very good marketing campaign.
Look who just
Apex
Mindset.
Seriously. Seriously. But Phil, let's start with you and go around, and then we'll finish again like with me and Thor.
Yeah, I think that she's going to keep growing, but just like big bright stars, man, they burn hot, but they also burn fast. I don't think she's got the wheels for it. Like I said, she's probably going to continue to grow for a little bit more. She's kind of hacked the red pill space as far as females. She's got that wholesome look, and she does parrot a lot of the things that are repeated through this space. And I think that she's going to continue to grow, but I think that'll stagnate because other girls are going to go ahead and step on her plate. And that's it.
Yo, that was
we like
quick.
your face, so we're just keep it.
No,
hey man, we gotta keep this shit under like 30 seconds or less.
Raith, what are your thoughts, bro? What are your thoughts?
No, I kind of agree with Phil. I think she's on the rise, and she'll hit a plateau. I think right now most men are watching her because she's unique. In a lot of ways, there's not a lot of women out there calling women to task. But I think, as more and more people do that, more and more women do that, she'll kind of plateau out, and then, it'll be whatever the next topic is that piques her interest that can, keep her going is what it'll be.
Okay. All right, looks like
Next one.
I don't know. Somebody hit the cameras and we lost.
Okay, so
let's
Mark,
go to the next one.
Mark, it's on you, bud.
Yeah, I was listening to her this morning talk to. She did a show with Sneeko, and I really like her. I don't listen to her a lot, but kind of like what Phil said. I know she's getting a little bit burnt out. I think she said on doing reaction videos, so I know she's wanting to change to something else. But I think she'll continue to grow. I'm not sure if she's going to stay with the same format she has now, but I think she's sincere. I think there are a lot of women that parrot things, but then again, we all sometimes parrot things. It's just a question of whether we're sincere about it when we say it. And I think she is sincere, even if she is saying some things she heard from somewhere else. I think she believes in what she says, and I think has integrity, and I think that's why she's grown as fast as she has, not just because she's a woman.
Yeah. Very good, very good, very good. Let's go to the next one. It looks like something's going on with the control with Glenn, so I will take it on from here. I'm going to move it to Apex Mindset. What is your prediction for Pearly things? I mean, she's kind of new to the Manosphere. I got to spend a few days with her in Miami, but I want to hear what your thoughts are with her for 2023. A meteoric rise from her, really.
The show I show up on is probably like the worst one for me to show up on because I don't pay attention to anybody or what they do.
Okay. Well,
but I do know, I can give you something. I'm paying attention more now because I'm not good at marketing. So to be real, I'm just not good at it. So I'm trying to see what other people are doing and how they're marketing themselves so I can, get my voice out there more. My thought on her is, she'll figure out what it is she's doing if she hasn't already, but she's, we have to look at what people are. I kind of have people split up in sort of categories. You have people who are more or less experts in what they're, talking about and offering, and they'll offer oftentimes like courses or something like that behind a paywall that are actually worth buying, right? And then you'll have people who are entertainers, right? And Pearl is more of an entertainer.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like Fresh and Fit, they're entertainers, right? Not that they don't offer things for you to buy or whatever, but they're, and some experts are also entertainers. Like, Rollo's an expert, and he's, has his podcast now that's getting more popular. So like, some will wear both hats, and then of course, that third category is grifters. Like, people are really just there to make their bag and go. She's spent a lot of money and effort to scale her
Yeah, she did.
audience. And so she's putting out like 3 or 4 shorts a day or something crazy. She's putting out so much stuff. She pays other people to cut it up and do it. It's not a criticism. It's just a way it is, and she's scaled her viewership, and she doesn't have the censorship problems that some of us might have here. No. She won't, because she doesn't fit the, white male demographic. I'm not supposed to say that, but it's the reality is talking about the topics we talk about in intersexual dynamics puts you at a disadvantage as a white male if you're not along the feminist, you're not in agreement with like the feminist, line of thinking.
Yeah, I can actually prove that. I can actually prove that. Yeah.
And so she's not, restricted and doesn't have to get as creative to not get censored as maybe I would, or like pretty much everybody here would. And she can say things that are maybe not along the lines of feminism and get away with it because she's a woman. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing for her. And then she's an entertainer, and she's spent, a lot of money, and she has some of the same people marketing her stuff. I have heard anyway that like market like Ben Shapiro and like some of these other, people with a big followings, right? And outside of space, which is smart. She had the capital to do it and all that. So, I don't think she's going away, but is she going to be an expert though? Right? Is she going to be a Rollo Tomasi, for example, or is she going to be, Sean Smith, a psychologist? Is she going to be you guys here? Some of you guys are experts in your own rights. I don't see that happening. I think that she'll be an entertainer. Do you know what I mean? With a big following for as long as she wants it.
I think in a way she opens a crack for us as well that we could possibly exploit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the more people that talk about this stuff is kind of good, right?
Yeah.
It's countering like a lot of the other stuff that's out there. Where I get annoyed is where when you don't have an expertise, people have to compete with sensationalism. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so instead of just being very good at what you do and say, now they're looking to say the most outrageous looking thing to get views and eyes on them. And then that's where what is sound advice and maybe a good kind of principles to follow in your life turn and fall apart and turn into a lot of BS. And so that's my only issue there. Now, I'm not saying I don't really watch her content much. I've only caught a couple things in my research for marketing. So I don't know whether she's saying bad things or good things particularly, to be honest.
But. No worries. That's a reasonable assessment. Yeah. Come on, man. Podcast. Are you familiar with Pearly things?
I am actually.
Paul. It's Paul versus Paul prediction now.
It's making things so confusing right now. Yeah. We got to figure this out. But, the thing about like women in the space is it comes down to the power of tits and simps, right? Like they are able to gain a huge following because there's so many guys that are like, oh, it's a woman who finally understands this sort of thing. And then it just simp all over her. So they have that advantage. And then when it comes down to like the parroting thing, I don't necessarily have a problem with that because almost nothing in this space is original. Like almost everybody quotes somebody else. What the problem with women in the space though is they almost have no life experience to put behind the stuff that they're studying, right? Like, I quote a lot from Dr. Glover, from Corey Wayne, from Christopher Canwell, from, like a bunch of guys, right? Ryan Stone, Rollo. I quote from all those guys. But I've also taken what I've learned from them and applied it to my own life. And so I have my own life story to add to some context to it. You know what I mean? And like these women don't. They just are like, well, this is what some guy said. The thing about Pearl, though, she's self-proclaimed entertainer. She's said that. So there's no, I don't think anyone's in disagreement there. My prediction for Pearl is I think she's going to keep growing until she gets married, and then she's going to leave the space. That's my prediction for Pearl.
That is a good prediction. That's a fantastic prediction, and that's falling along the lines. So I just say this to Miles. Miles, Pearl green flag, Barney wing girl red flag. There is a difference between women that are adopting some RP values to talk about and entering this space versus the supposed RP dating coaches. And that difference is large. We'll do a whole episode on that at some point, just so you know. But it's a fair assessment. Okay, so let's get to Glenn, you're actually back again without technical difficulties. Let's get your thoughts on early things.
Yeah, so well, I think Pearl really kind of exposed herself recently when she really said she just does this for entertainment. This is entertainment to her. Although she may agree with a lot of the red pill content, I think she, as she said, she's more of an entertainer. So this is the hot topic right now that she has established herself on, and to get recognized as an entertainer and as basically a talk show host per se. And I think she's going to build on that. I think we're going to see her transition out of this space probably by the end of the year, and probably head into more politics. And maybe sports politics, when it comes to gender issues. Because I know she is or could be a professional volleyball player overseas. She did get offers to go play overseas professionally. So I do see her transitioning out of this space by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see it doing because she gets hooked up with somebody, but like Paul said, I definitely think that's possible. I think she sees that her time in this space is also limited as well. And I think she's going to capitalize as quickly as she can and dip out.
Well, that's a good prediction. I actually think that's probably closer to the truth. She's also going to be vehemently attacked by feminists. And, I spent some time with her. Let me just go ahead and give some background, and then I'll let anybody else wants to say something on her. But I spent a few days with her at the at the conference on masculine excellence. She's very pleasant to be around. Any one of us would enjoy her company, not just because she's a young woman, but she is kind of subdued, excellent at conversation in person by being very pleasant and projects a good energy. Not much depth, but she appears to be thoughtful about what's at hand with her, and everybody probably could appreciate that. She's very congruent with that. Does she have the depth and the knowledge? No. Has she put the effort in? Not so much, but she understands on the surface RP principles, at least, and that's about as far as any woman could really go, and maybe a little further. I think Jed's probably thinking along those lines too. We'll get to her, but she did get funded into this, but she was really good at her work ethic. And you could tell when you talk to her work ethic is actually quite admirable. Take nothing from her. She's going to continue that growth. And that does open up a crack for us to reach people that are more serious about the information. But her entertainment value is undeniable. And she is able to talk about things. She can openly say RP where I cannot. And I have a perfect example. On my shorts where I announced the origins of RP, it was demonetized completely and unsuitable. And when I investigated it was strictly because of my use of RP.
That's right. She
can say it all day long and remain completely monetized. So there's your proof right there on why it moves in that direction. And there's more to it than that. When we get to general predictions, I'll talk a little bit about that going in the future. But I think that you guys,
Thor, would you consider that? Sorry, would you consider that woman privilege? Is that the P privilege that she has? That she could say certain words that we can't say without getting a slap on the wrist?
Nope, I wouldn't. I think wokeism is rooted in Marxism, and it requires an oppressor. And when you're flagged as the oppressor, you have to be called out as the oppressor. And that's the only way it works. And these corporations that have adopted it will pursue that. And they don't even think that there is anything wrong with that. They think that's absolutely as fair as it should be, because the oppressor, they need it. They have to have it. And I can get into that later. But as far as Pearl, as her number one goal, and she expresses it privately, as far as personally, she is shopping for a husband, and she would love to have children, and she'll openly tell you that she wants that traditional. So that will be a huge factor when that comes about in her life, whether she has enough established talent to carry her brand forward. I would think that as soon as that happens, the shift in her content would go towards family and children. Absolutely. And traditionality. That's what I think. I think her prediction is exactly that. I think she will continue to grow until she shifts out, either in politics or because of a personal relationship, such as a commitment to get married.
You know, and she does bring up a good point. Like, hey, all you single ladies out there that are looking for a guy, but if you want a guy, just start a YouTube channel and talk a bunch of positive red pill stuff, and you will get male suitors in your DMs immediately.
I feel like that's a long way around, though.
I mean,
I feel
hey,
like they could just show up someplace with a vagina.
They could, but like, you know, it's like the quality of dick, right? You know, do you want like high quality dick, or do you want just dick?
Right.
You kind of, you know, sift through that by just starting a YouTube channel. But moving on,
hold on.
Oh,
I won't. Yeah. So I think that, like, so I also went to the CME that Thor was at, and I met Pearl, and we talked a little bit. And from what I met with her, she's very smart. I don't think she's going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
I honestly think she's going to be here for all of 23, possibly 24. I think it's going to take a little longer than a year to move her out, because this woman has plans on things to do. And we have to admit, some of our best teachers are entertainers. And so, because they're able to package a hard lesson into a memorable lesson. So she's able to take these facts and make them so where people can see. She's opening people's eyes that me and you can't reach. And so we've got to give her credit there. I know that she has admitted that she wants to be married. She's even talking about doing like a wife school. And she's saying how she's going to be the main student for it. She's also going to bring in those entertainers, get the girls who are not really wifey material to show up. And
you mean like Brittany Renner?
Yeah. And so, but then she's going to also, like, she's talked about, okay, after season 1 or 2, I'm married, then I'm going to be doing more with it. So she's got plans further down the road that I think that, especially with her advisors that are in the RP space, like I know she's worked close with Donovan. They're going to give her some real good advice that's going to lead to longevity in this space with her. Whether or not the community is as accepting to it, that's what is up to be determined. But I don't think she's going anywhere in 23.
Good. I don't think she's bad for us. She opens opportunities for us, for sure. And I do think that she will learn. I'm hoping that she does really put that down with Donovan and try to become a much better prepared debater, because she misses a lot of opportunities under those circumstances, because there's so many people, like we're going to get to Hafiz, total abject, confident ignorance and need to be right could easily be, she could really get a lot of wins. But unfortunately, the depth is holding her back. Good assessment, Randall.
And you know what? Speaking of Hafiz, you know, Hafiz and Ruslan, you know, let's just kind of label them the Bible pill, right? You know, I would say the old TradCon Bible pill.
People are.
Of course you wouldn't, Paul, because you're not hip and anything like that.
We can add to that list. Yeah.
We'll add Paul to that list now. No, I'm kidding. You know, these guys came out.
Glenn, you're in that category, right?
Oh yeah. I definitely kind of fall into the Bible pill, like, you know, the biblical worldview. But Hafiz and, you know, Ruslan come from a very traditional religious biblical background, very purple pillish. And Hafiz is known for coming out or starting off with what was it called? The
Roommates.
The Roommates podcast, right?
Oh, that
which he still do.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah,
still does it.
Yeah, he still does it. Oh, okay, I didn't know if he did it or he went solo now.
No, as far as I can tell, that channel is still active with at least a couple of the members.
Okay, cool. So he kind of started out and doing a kind of red pillish kind of thing there. And then he kind of pivoted and went like straight anti-red pill and start, making a whole lot of, anti-red pill comments and talking about how the red pill's bad. And, him and Ruslan kind of teamed up together and they did a couple streams about how the red pill's bad or whatever. And, Ruslan ended up debating Rolo on Saucecast last year as well. But what are these guys going to do by the end of this year? Do you think there's still going to be that, the anti-red pill force? Are they going to pivot? Or do you guys kind of think that, either the red pill people are just going to shut them out, or are they going to, do something else?
Well, I'm going to go on Hafiz. Hafiz can speak for hours and say absolutely nothing. The level of confident ignorance coupled with the need to be right, he reminds me a lot of Oswald Bates from Mad TV, who can say a lot of nothing and get a lot of emotion stirred up and nothing is actually said. And he has chosen the red pill to be his oppressor bad guy. And to say it is dangerous, not only to say it's dangerous, but to come out and say it's extremely dangerous and that we should all be giving men instruction, actual prescriptions on how to be better husbands and fathers. He goes on that line, which the other religious guys do, you're going to talk about, which is that everything is men's fault 100% because men, much like Jordan Peterson said with the Lost Boys, this is all your fault and you're just not being men enough. That's it. That's the whole thing. Now, when it comes to his prescriptions, it's basically do what I say, not what I do. And what I say really is a bunch of container words, which you're supposed to figure out and run your life that way. That's my thought on him. He will continue to do so because there are men that really want to be emotionally riled, kind of, get riled up like that and then have somebody tell them to charge the hill. So I think we'll continue. I think it's actually going to get much worse in 2023 as traditional conservatives really don't like some of the aspects, the harder aspects of RP, because it calls out the fallacies with their fantasies and how they've lived their lives.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, please.
Please.
Yeah, well, so and I did a show on this recently too, because something I noticed, it's that what you're going to see is the red pill and manosphere space is going to get polluted more and more with people who are not really what I would consider experts in this area, not really not that knowledgeable. They're going to use AI, and they're going to do a lot of basically spamming the space with low quality content to try to get eyes on them. They're the grifters, right? You're going to have a lot more grifters that realize that they might be able to get some sort of viewership and maybe some sort of money out of the space, out of using manosphere, using red pill. And so as you get more of that, it becomes easier for guys like that to build a brand counteracting the straw man that those people create, right? Because they're competing with each other on sensationalized comments, not things that are actually practical and that things that a guy can use in action in his life, but things that are more designed to be divisive. So some guy from the Roommates or whoever can now go anti-red pill, increase his viewership because, red pill will get you censored a little bit, right? By most platforms. So he can increase his viewership, not deal with censorship and counteract. He's got a ton of, nonsense that he can counter very easily. Things taken out of context, right? Principles that are put out from the red pill people that are good that maybe get bastardized, and used in the wrong context and used in the wrong way and used for sensationalized statements. Right. So you're right. I agree with you, Thor. That's what's going to happen. And a lot of it's because people in that consider themselves in that manosphere red pill space, you have a lot more grifters coming out. So it's going to be easier to create that straw man now,
Yeah. Excellent commentary. I think we're kind of seeing it from the same angle, but I think we're going to see that space really increase, particularly as we get towards the next predictions, like we're going to let Laurent talk to us a little bit about the economy. But when times get hard, it's real. We are kind of an ideal bad guy. And with what happens with the Tates, we end up with that, whatever's popular. It's called, what is it? Dog pile or pile-on in psychology. Once it's a tipping point, we're going to suffer the consequences just in general, and we have our fair share of kind of leeches that jump onto this space because it has become popular in the last couple of years.
Yeah. I'll share mine real quick.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Hafiz and Ruslan, okay, here's my prediction. One, Ruslan is still going to avoid having a debate with me this year until he drops his album, and then I give him like 5 out of 5 mics on the MTV or the Source magazine vote, and gets his album some sales. At that point, he'll debate me. But until then, he'll probably still avoid me. He told me last time in one of the chats, I need to read one of his books. I don't think he's written anything except a couple lyrics for his new song.
So what's your prediction for him in 2023?
So my prediction for him is he's still going to do his thing. I think he's going to stay in this lane, in the Bible lane, and kind of still go off on the red pill. And the same thing with Hafiz. I think Hafiz is going to tend to go more political, though, as the election season starts to drive up. I see him going more political tradcon, speaking on those topics more than he does now. And that's just my opinion, because I see him as kind of more of a politician-ish, person. But I think Ruslan's still going to do his thing. The funny thing is, for these guys though don't understand, is that the Bible really was like the first original red pill book. Okay. There's so many principles that the red pill adopts that are found within the scriptures of the Bible, that it's funny to me that hear guys from a biblical worldview to speak so negatively against the red pill.
I don't think they can, because it conflicts with their conviction of the romanticization of blue pill tenets with their religion.
Exactly. So it's like, either are they really, maybe subconsciously they're speaking against the biblical principles as well, not just the red pill, and they don't even know it yet. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Now, I think you're going to see imitators. What do you think? Because you got David Hammond, right?
Yep, we got David
already
Hammond
growing.
And that, well, here's the funny thing is like with David Hammond, when you're bad, when Alex from Playing with Fire decides to go, diss you as well. Okay. All right. If somebody that is like Alex is coming at you for the same shit that I'm coming at you about, hell froze over, for one, and two, you are a grifter at that point.
All right, let's get anybody else's comments on this. Let's spend about another 10 or 15 on this, and then let's get to the hardcore RP, guys. We want to get our thoughts on the original oracles. What do you say? Anybody else on Hafiz, or the kind of the religious aspect that's entering the red pill for 2023? If not, I'm going to put up our first super chat supporting our show. Guys, Danny Arnold, what a loyal dude, man. Glenn, did you get to have lunch with him up there?
No, what? No, I didn't. I tried to arrange something with him when I was out there. And by the time I got, I actually received his message, I was actually heading back up to where our hotel was. So just was not able to connect this past trip, but I'll be back out there, soon. Yep. And so I'll definitely connect with Danny.
Danny's fantastic. He's been with me from the beginning, him and Sterling and me, and he's been a good man. And I know that he wears a Mjolnir. So, skull to you, brother Danny. Thank you for the super chat. It will go right back into the content. I appreciate you breaking the super chat cherry. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah. Of course, leave it up to Danny doing it, too. That dude's a soldier.
Yeah, he is. Hey, let's throw a few names out here out of the new Manoshpererians and do some predictions. What do you say?
Yeah, can we do
let's talk about Jed, Torsha?
I was gonna say,
Brittany.
Jed, Torsha, and Brittany.
Yeah, let's do that. Jedediah, Bila. Let's do the roundtable on Jedediah, Bila. Our quick thoughts on her, and then Torsha or Tori, and then Brittany Renner seems to be jumping into this space. So let's just throw those three gals out here. You know,
Brittany Renner is taking the pearl.
God, I love them. God love them. Go ahead. Take your shot, Glenn, and we'll just go around.
Okay. I'll start it off real quick. So Jedediah Bila, I think she's going to be a definite force to be reckoned with. I think she's going to, stick along the lines as a TradCon, but kind of like a TradCon red pill, blend. She's already pivoted and changed so many, so much in this past year from the first time her and Rollo did a stream together until now. So I just definitely can see her continuing down that course. Torsia, I think Torsia is going to continue to do her thing. I don't really see her making any monumental, impact right now, as she's still kind of finding her way and doing her shows. I mean, she does a pretty good job at breaking down videos and also breaking down Rollo's work and breaking down even his older blogs as well. So she definitely is a source to help break down and regurgitate information, but I'm not really sure if she's going to make any monumental impact, kind of like Pearly did this past year. But she'll definitely still be doing her thing. And Brittany Renner, I think Brittany Renner is going to end up finding a TradCon husband. And
really,
yeah, I think she's going to go through Pearly's, how to be a wife course. And it's going to be a con, and she's going to find like the most successful TradCon guy she could get, and then marry him, get pregnant, and then get divorced like 3 years later.
She's going to build a better beta. Great.
Yeah.
Good prediction. 2023. All right, Phil, jump in here, man. Give us the names. We got you going with Jedediah, Torsia, and Brittany Renner.
The only one I got to comment on is Jedediah. I think she's gonna continue down the path. I think her course correction once her first interactions with Rollo earlier this last year kind of set the stage for that. And if you watch a lot of her content, she is definitely leaning more towards the red pill. Definitely TradCon for sure. The other two I have no comment on, but I think Jedediah's got some solid content out there for the ladies to listen to. And obviously, I mean, she's on Valuetainment. I mean, she's got it going on. So I think she's going to continue to grow in this space. And I think we've talked before, and she's got a pretty masculine guy in her life. So I think that also has some influence, like we discussed privately. And I just think that she's going to continue to expand in this space. I don't think she's going to burn out as fast as Pearly and move on, though.
Yeah, that's good. I kind of agree with that. Okay, so next up we got Paul Podcast.
I don't really follow any of these particular ladies, except for I know of Torsia. Torsia is an interesting gal, and I think the reason why Rollo likes her so much is because she is motivated to go down these rabbit holes in the space. She goes up and takes it upon herself to look up all this old content to do her own research. So that's one of the things that I think he likes about her. As far as like where she's going to go, I think she's going to continue on her trajectory. She has the same sort of appeal that a lot of women in the space have, with the boobs and the simps.
Are you referring to the chesticles?
Yeah, and that's not to say anything bad. And I think if she heard that, she would agree with me on that. So, but the other two, I don't really follow them that much, so I don't really have a prediction for them.
She's really proud of them. I spent some time with her in Miami. She's
she should be. You know what? God bless her. Yeah.
Hey, when you pay good money for them, right? You should be proud of them, right?
I will tell you, they did a fantastic job on them there. She did real good there. Apex Mindset. Jedediah Bila, Torsia, and Brittany Renner 2023 projection. Where do you think they're going to go? What about that Brittany Renner?
Hey,
okay.
Hey, Paul, is she going to be your one of your next little projects?
My hot fling.
Side projects? Is she going to be a side project for you?
My girl's hotter.
Are you gonna try to?
She has to join the harem, I guess. Dude, I don't know anything. I can't. I don't pay attention to anything they're doing. To be honest, I really don't.
You've actually talked to Torsia though, right?
Oh, Torsia.
Well,
you
really know what she's up to.
You did a whole show with her.
Yeah. So
weren't you the first one in this space that did a show with her?
Torsia, I know. Torsia's Torsia, man. I don't know. She's like She cool. Like we're like text buddies, and you know,
Yeah.
I've seen her in Chicago. Like when I passed through Chicago a lot, we met up. She's cool. She's a cool person. At least she's been cool to me. As far as what she wants to do with her brand and her stuff, you know, I got no idea, man. Like, to be honest, you know, like she's got to, it's all branding, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm figuring out. I'm somebody who had certain skill sets and expertise, not in everything, but in certain things. And then that brought me to the internet. That brought me into the consulting world. I've been, you know, working as a coach consultant for guys before YouTube, right? And then like before I got on YouTube, not before YouTube was invented. I'm not that old, but you know, then I got on YouTube, like not having much direction, and now I have a lot more direction. So like I'm somebody who came and brought something to the space, if we want to call it that, not somebody who said I want to get into a space. Now let me build a brand around it. So I'm like learning how to try to build a brand now from what I already have as an expertise. Torch is somebody who saw an opportunity to, you know, talk about things and get involved in something that she believes in, and that's fine. She's got to go through her process. All these people to go through their process of brand identity, marketing. So I can comment on Torsia, like her thing is she needs to figure out what her brand identity is.
I think so too. I think that's a really good assessment in 2023. If she can lock onto that.
Right. Cause she's got it. Cause I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I know her. Like, are you giving advice to women? Are you giving advice to men? Are you entertainment? Are you showing your boobs? She's doing a little bit of all of it, right? So it's like, I think she just goes straight OnlyFans and call it. Torch, I'm talking to you if you're listening. But, you know, I'm just, but really, jokes aside, though, I mean,
she's got to make more money doing that.
Direction she's going, or else it'll be confusing. She won't. Glenn's prediction will be more correct if she doesn't get like a very clear idea what that brand identity is going to be and what she wants to offer value wise, whether it's entertainment that's valuable in its own right, or some sort of service, you know, expertise of some sort. She's got to figure it out. You know?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And I think 2023 could be groundbreaking for her because after speaking with her and getting in focus about red pill, you know, hypothesis and theories and how it put out, she's pretty well researched. She really, really is. And I got to say, probably one of the most knowledgeable. The thing is she has two assets that she could really leverage strongly in order to propel her in the right direction.
Are we talking about the
I think he's referring to twins.
I think she's already using those assets. Definitely. She's already there.
I mean, with her.
Good Lord, you dirty bastards. I was talking about her intellect and her personality. What were you guys thinking?
Is the left one
is that what you called them?
The left is intellect and the right one's
personality. Yeah.
Of course.
No, I mean,
of course.
Here's the thing.
She held her own really well with Alex, you know, playing with fire. She had the logic and the research. He had nothing except a loud voice.
But that doesn't say much, though. It's Alex.
Very well read, yeah.
So I think she has a golden opportunity here. I think she could propel herself much as if what Paul said, if she really locks her brand down, kind of with I think she may already have this. Rollo's backing her. If she has a roadmap, I think she'd do great, you know?
Yeah. The only issue with unfortunately for Torsia is because she is above, you know, average when it comes to attractive, you know, because since most women are, you know, obese in America, so she is a skinny, pretty girl with boobs, and she's talking red pill stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, like click really, really attractive for guys, but at the same time, it could come off, you know, kind of grifty. Like she's just using her beauty and, you know, boobs to kind of, you know, get attention, which sucks for her because
it's not really that, but it's gonna. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It kind of sucks for her in that case because it's like, well, she'd be more believable or, you know, considered genuine if she looked more like Pearl. You know what I'm saying? You know, kind of average, plain Jane type of girl.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
but we'll see.
So for me, Jed is probably one of the most interesting because Jed is a little bit older. She has now had a child and she has a really masculine husband, but she's had a lifetime of feminist training, whether she wanted to realize it or not. And because, you know, Rollo's patience with her and him just pushing the issue, I mean, she was extremely extremely feisty and pushback with him when they first met, and there is a completely different person sitting there today. I think this transition will continue. It has a lot to do with her family situation and the strength of her masculine husband. And the more she moves in that direction, she's getting a lot of traction with trad cons to look at this space in the RP. We'll see how far it goes. I think she's got a lot of growth ahead of her. And then when it comes back to politics and election time, I kind of see some distance. I don't know if that'll happen by the year, but I see her distancing RP stuff. That's my prediction for her. As far as Brittany Renner, yeah, she needs to build a better beta for sure. That's it.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. Well, does anybody else have comments we want to make about those three?
Laurent, what's up, buddy?
My money is on Pearly. I look at people like Stocks, and the one that has the fastest growth in this space has been Pearly. Mm-hmm. She has interviewed Andrew Tate, Brittany Renner, Jedediah, like all of them, and she's been on Vice panel. She's extremely talented debater. She comes across as very naive and so on and so forth, but she's an extremely talented. Like if you saw him on the Vice panel, which was a bunch of hysterical feminists, she came across. She carried herself with a lot of dignity, and she came unquestionably the best victorious because she doesn't come across. I mean, people vastly underestimate her. So my money is definitely on her. Like even with her fees, like she fashioned him a new asshole. Like she make him look dumb, which actually is not a total hurdle for sure. But my money would definitely be on her.
Well, let's be fair to Huffbeast. He makes himself look dumb.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But where I see her going though, isn't she declared it herself? Is she would like to interview the Manosphere loves to make predictions. About the majestic creatures, or you're gonna be died on by a cat, like the Kevin Samuels type. And she said, like, I want to interview these people. And I think this is probably where it would break the whole space into more mainstream.
So give me a number. Give me a number. She's got 1 million viewers now. Are we going to see 2 million from her in 2023?
I would go for as far as 4 or 5. I think she'll burn.
4 or 5 million is your prediction?
No, why not? Why not? She's breaking mainstream. She's gone everywhere. She's invited everywhere, and everywhere she carries herself with her dignity. My money's on her.
That's a good one, and that comes from our resident quant there in Tokyo. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
So moving on, let's talk about Chris Williamson.
Okay, let's make him the last of the new ones, and then we're going to get into the old guard. Right?
Yep. Chris Williamson. So he kind of popped up. The one video that I actually end up, catching on to him was the one with that psychologist or that sociologist. What was it? That marriage counselor guy, Aaron something.
Yeah.
We used a couple of the clips in our video about hookup culture.
Yeah, he was kind of talking the praises of the red pill, Glenn.
Yeah.
When he brought that guy on, he had shifted his viewpoint into RP being very dangerous to young men. And he was basically parodying the new popularity of the Andrew Tates being super dangerous. He was using the same language, actually, and putting it on the RP.
Yeah, he kind of seems more like a populist in the space, not really somebody that's committed or stands on any principles. He's kind of like the populist. Whatever is the popular, trend or thought, belief system, whatever, at the time, he's kind of attach himself to it and, kind of ride with that. So I really don't see him really being here much longer, other than the fact that he may be interesting with a couple, ideas or, talking points. But I really don't see him as a factor in this space for
Very long.
Honestly. Yeah.
I'll agree with you on that prediction. I don't think he's going to stick with the red pill other than to call us dangerous to kind of get attention to it.
Yeah. What about you, Raith? What are your thoughts on it?
If I take everybody from Chris back, it's hard for me to take a lot of them seriously. Okay, just to be honest, they haven't lived long enough to experience anything in life.
Yeah.
And they definitely haven't been able to take these principles and apply them to their life. long enough to be sitting there talking to someone about how to change their life with the red pill. And they go on and you hear these shows, and it's just it's talking heads to me.
Yeah.
I want to see real life changes that these people have affected on people. And then they'll get my respect. Other than that, they're just entertainers.
Yeah. And I know you're getting ready to dip out. Do you want to say your goodbyes now?
Sure. I got to go, guys. I'm if you want to hit me up, I'm on Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, Raith_Detour, and also on Yahoo Mail if you want to do it that way. But like I said, the proof's in the pudding. When you start talking about the old guys and I'm not going to be here, I think you're going to see the difference between what they offer and how they've offered it, and can they continue to offer at that level, as opposed to these young people that are coming in trying to make a name for themselves using the principles. But like I said, show me the proof. If you want to talk about receipts, I don't care how many women you've been with and stuff like that. Show me how it's affected your life and changed your life, and how you've been able to affect change in other people's lives through your examples. That's where I'm at with it.
Nice.
Excellent. Nice. What's your 2023 prediction for Raith Deantior? Where are we going to be at the end of 2023?
Sitting right here where we're at right now, helping men that want to be helped.
Excellent.
And that's what I do.
Thank you, Raith. We'll see you next time, buddy.
All right.
Moving on. Randall, what are your thoughts?
I got to be honest. I don't know this dude.
Yep.
It's like I've seen, other than the video that you guys broke down, that like there's so many content creators coming out now that I can't follow them all. And so I have narrowed down the ones that I find to be the most valuable in both education and entertainment. And this guy makes the cut in neither of those. So he's a nobody to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Phil.
Yeah, I don't even know who this dude is and could give two shits, really. I'm just being real, man. I can't make a comment on a guy I don't even follow, understand, or watch or anything like that. So just pass the mic.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, we got some fast up and comers we're not even going to mention, like Ryan Atlas over there at whatever podcast. We got some guys moving fast,
Yep.
So we won't be able to get to everybody. So if you don't have a comment, that's good. Glenn, I think we should probably take time to start looking at the old guard,
Yeah. So, well, is I don't really think Michael Sartain is considered an old guard, right? But he definitely, if you want to collaborate him and Rolo together, well, then obviously we know Rolo is an old guard. But what are you guys' thoughts on Michael Sartain, Sterling Cooper, and Justin Waller or Jay Waller? These guys have been in this space for a hot minute and definitely have made an impact and are connected literally with everybody in this space, including the Tates. So what are your guys' thoughts on those guys?
So I don't know much about Sartain, but I do know Justin, and I know Sterling, or know of them. I've interacted with them several times, and I think that they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to keep helping men out, whatever situations that they can help it with, whether it's in the bedroom through Sterling's courses, whether it's through business and fitness through Jay Waller. I think that they're here. They're not going to be going anywhere. And I think they're just going to get bigger with or without the Tates, because they're good, solid dudes. And I think that they're going to go further than where they've gone so far.
Yeah.
Well, and both those guys I've met, hung out with personally, and they're both stand-up guys. Sterling, I consider a friend.
Yep.
And they know what they're doing, man. They're doing the right things as far as promoting their stuff. Jay I don't know as well. He was really cool to me though when we hung out. was at his place when he was doing a show with John, and was more or less not, was in the background, but we had a good chance to talk. He's a very hospitable guy. Good, seems like a good dude, from meeting him. And Sterling vouches for him, and Sterling's a friend, so that's good enough for me, unless it's proven otherwise. Seems like cool person. But as far as their Sterling has his niche. He's very good at that niche. He's going to continue that. Who know? I don't know what Jay's plans are, because he's a businessman first, and he, his businesses take precedence over the internet, as they probably should. So, I mean, he's going to do what is best for him. It'll be interesting to see what he does, actually.
Yeah, I see Sterling moving in that direction too. More businessman. And I think,
and quite frankly, as he should be, in a way.
I mean, they're growing. Both of them are growing their presence. And I think there'll be an extremely high demand in 2023 for higher end podcasting. Both of them. Those guys very much be pushed at the higher end. I also see Rollo being pushed at the higher end. Some doors will open for him. For sure. His level of haters is increasing, so his level of fame is definitely increasing. He has he's brought a lot of good talent up into the space, and we got to give him his kudos for that. I mean, look, he's got those young filmmakers I got to meet personally. All these guys I've met personally, stand-up guys, the Red Pill Lions. I met those young guys. Talk about work ethic. These guys work with nothing and produce some amazing shit. So I see those guys really expanding. And you got to keep in mind, all these guys are up against the algorithm and the human screening process, the shadow banning that takes place. All of them are. So I think their popularity is actually far outstrips what you see in their numbers. I really do. And what surprised me is I didn't think so, but I was shocked at how many people actually knew of them outside of what I considered the sphere. So I see a lot of growth for them. Even like Paul, Paul Apex Mindset, you suffered this shadow banning, and in all reality,
my channel doesn't exist.
Dude, you've been shadow banned for the last year.
Because
it's so weird.
Out of all of us, I've actually said more offensive things than you have on this show right here, and it's crazy.
I probably have some ex-girlfriend working for YouTube I don't know about.
Dude, I think so. I really do. I think it's that one that you just never called back after that one night. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, right.
You never called her back, and now she's just shadow banned you for like the last
That's
year.
right. It's like, I hate him, and told all the girlfriends, and they're just back there just now, yeah. I have the proof. It's not a conspiracy thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that I, need to do better. As far as it being on YouTube and as far as my marketing. So I take responsibility for that part. I don't care about it because it just makes me have to be better. That's all it is. Yeah. But I mean, there's no question. Like when I have I did a short that hit 20,000 in the first hour and then leveled off. I've had so many videos that will hit, like they start to go, they spike right up in the beginning, and then basically it levels off, and then it shows who's watching the video, and it's like it's not being promoted by YouTube anymore, like in the browse features or anything like that. So I mean, it's no question about it. I've showed it to people who know more than me, which is everyone, when it comes to technology and how algorithms work, and they're like, oh yeah, which is why I started a new channel, Apex Inner Game, and we're going to try to keep that as clean as I can.
Good. And when we're done with this prediction on the old guard, I want to talk about that in particularly because I do have information with the new monetization rules that go into effect in January 23rd. And I got some history on that with what happened at Twitter. I'll make those predictions at the end of this when we talk about the rest, but you may find that part interesting too, if you haven't read that agreement yet that we all have to sign. So it definitely exists at will, or at the mercy. We're all at will when we go on YouTube. So, I do predict that Rumble will grow for all of us at some point.
Yeah.
And that Twitter will actually offer video channeling at some point in the near future. And I'll tell you why. It has a lot to do with the new CEO that was picked.
Hey, Thor, can we highlight Danny's comment again real quick.
Yeah.
And hey, Danny, we definitely would love to have Tom back on. I know that he is busy. He just moved, recently moved into a new home. And they're kind of setting that up and, getting ready for bringing a little baby or trying to make a little baby, one of the two. So I know he's kind of busy doing all his things, but man, we would love to have Tom back on here. He was an awesome addition when we had him on here.
Yeah, Tom's wonderful. I'm gonna meet him, spend time with him and Allie. They're definitely starting a new family, so I totally understand what's going on there, and we support that. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. And I'm glad you brought that to my attention. One thing with the old guard, like Fresh and Fit, I'm going to predict they'll hit 2 million next year. They're on the right track. They get enough controversy. The entertainment value is good. Rollo nails it. He gets doors open for him that Rollo can't walk through, and Rollo gets doors open for him that Rollo can't walk through. And I think the addition of Mike Sartain with his social skill set, it's right up there with Paul at Apex Mindset, and that's what's needed here. We don't need to be viewed. My prediction is that the guys that have any sort of knowledge with the RP actually to hone their networking skill set, and the RP space will grow and actually have much more impact. I think in 2023, it's time to do that. And that's what we're going to do. Anybody else got comments on the old guard right now and predictions?
Well, I want to bring up a couple old guard that we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
Thor. I want to bring up, Donovan Sharp.
Yep.
Want to bring up the whole panel from Rule Zero. Ryan, Paul's. I called the Pauls. I'm appalled at the Pauls. You wrote Thor. I mean, come on now. You're part of the old guard. Just because you look young don't mean you're young. And Rollo, what is Rollo going to do? What's his next book title going to be?
Okay, you want to predict Rollo's next book title?
I already did in the promo video.
Say it again.
I think his next book title is going to be The Rational Male: How My Haters Keep Me Famous. And it's going to be.
I actually have inside information on his next book, but I'm sworn to secrecy.
Oh, okay.
I'm sworn to secrecy. Secrecy. So can't.
I'm not
can't.
part of the cool club yet, so thanks for
No, we don't want to do that. We want to keep it under wraps. Yeah.
No,
yeah, but think about it. What do you think the guys on the panel going to do? I mean, with Rich Cooper kind of doing his own thing now, he's out of the red pill space.
Well,
do you think anybody else is going to abandon ship? Anybody else going to do?
What do you mean? It's an interesting thing, the idea of banning. Like I talked about this again in my last video. It's too long. You guys don't want to watch it anyway. But
I already did.
A lot of bullshit. You don't need to
Challenge accepted.
But but I mean, it's like
I see what you did there, Paul.
Like that one? See?
That was good.
That was a Apex Mindset trick, psychological trick. Five ways to trick your audience. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So I never considered, like, for myself a part of like a space or not a part of a space. Like, I just look at people as individuals, you know what I mean? Like, I get along with certain individuals, and so then I'll work with them. My basic criteria is, are they cool? Do I get along with them? Like, are they, they seem like a good person, and not like, my bar is not real high as far as good person is concerned. In other words, people do make mistakes and F up, but if someone's like a total jackass or, clinical narcissist or some of the stuff you get in that attracts some content creators, I'm not going to work with someone who's out and out, way out there, right? Who's a damaging person. But if the person's generally a good person and I think they have something to offer, I'll do a collab. I'll work with them. And because of what I talk about and the nature of it, a lot of my influence is evolutionary psychology prior to even knowing what the red pill was. It just kind of puts me in this area. You know what I mean? And so like, I'm red pill, but I don't brand myself as like red pill necessarily, or I don't anti-brand it either. I'm not like, oh, I'm not this, don't call me that. You know what I mean? Same with the whole manosphere thing. So I'm just kind of just there doing my thing. And I don't, the only guys on the panel, I think, that really brand themselves heavy as like a red pill would be Rollo and Ryan, I think, just because they're OGs.
They are.
you know, Rollo, that's his brand. And I look at Red Pill, I think of it as Rollo's brand almost.
Same.
You know, it started off in those forums like So Suave they used to participate in. He had his blog. They came up with this whole Red Pill thing. That was just an idea that generated from these forums. And it was associated with 3 different people that more or less found it. And 2 of those people really aren't active in that space anymore.
Yeah, Rossi and
right.
Roosh.
Right. And like Roosh is, you know, running a cult someplace, and
where'd Rossi go?
Rossi, I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're left with, you know, Rollo is the dude from that original stuff. And then Ryan was a part of that.
Yeah, kind of was. Married Red Pill. Yeah.
Right. And so those guys are like original Red Pill people. They really follow that old Red Pill format, which is a bunch of guys exchanging notes.
Yep.
And there's no real person in charge of it or leader or any of that stuff. And it's just notes exchange. There are no experts really. We're just trying to figure out things. I didn't really come from that. You know,
no.
I came later. I came around, you know, to this internet space around 2016 through Rich Cooper. I read The Rational Mail in like 2016, liked it because it washed with a lot of ideas that I already had. It wasn't like I learned a ton from it. Book 2, I actually learned more from.
Oh.
You know what I mean? For me anyway, you know, and so it's like, but I'm always learning stuff. It's like whatever. But yeah, I think that, you know, the Manosphere, I think, is going to get anti-branded though.
Yes.
I think with all the, and you're already seeing it, you know, and I find it funny though, to be like, I'm not a part of the Manosphere anymore. Like,
yeah.
It's like saying I'm not a part of the economy. Like I didn't choose to be associated with a space on the internet. It's not a real thing anyway. It's just an internet space, but people are going to categorize me there based on the things I talk about.
People get so up over made up shit.
Yeah, it's like the more Rich says he's not part of the Manoswamp or the Manosphere is like the more he actually is. you're only convincing people that you are.
And what he's trying to do is he's differentiating himself. He's a man who's, you know, who's actually accomplished a lot in his life, and he's differentiating himself from, and rightfully so, people who haven't accomplished jack shit and who are just grifting on the internet. Which in terms of numbers, not necessarily following like subscribers or whatever, but in terms of number of creators, there's more grifters and BS artists than people who have value. You know what I mean? So he's distancing himself from that. That's cool. I don't blame him for it. It's probably a smart move, and I'm probably dumb by not just doing the same thing. I don't know.
Oh, it is a valid business strategy for sure.
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen. I think Manosphere is going to get marketed against, but Red Pill will stay kind of neutral because people, to be real, the grifter side of it, people like to steal Rollo's crap and repurpose it. They'll use Red Pill, and they'll use that when they can use it. Like even Rich did that. He didn't say I'm not Red Pill. Like, he was like, I'm not Manosphere. And they kept the Red Pill thing neutral, right? It's a smart business decision.
Yes.
And I think that's what a lot of people are going to do now.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I see that too, because like I catch myself at times saying like I'm not really part of like the Manosphere. You know, I'm just part of, you know, helping guys out in, you know, the space. You know, I really because like
that's Hafi's tagline now. I'm just here to help guys out.
No, Hafiz is on. Don't get me started, please, no. But I just don't like just being branded, like you were saying, being labeled like, oh, you are this. It's kind of like, no, I'm just a guy that has an opinion that tends to align with other guys that have this opinion that fall into this category. You know, like I don't necessarily agree with everything that's in this space, but you know, I tend to agree with the majority of it rather than the things I don't agree with, you know. So
I like where you went with that, Paul. That's a very astute, and I think that Rich, the prediction for him, he will do well by
Rich
his business.
Well. He knows what he's doing with what he's doing.
Rich doesn't know how to fit.
I'm actually in his community.
Let me take this moment for 2023 to differentiate RP Thor. I am not in this to help any men. I am in this to help RP Thor. Does that differentiate me enough?
Yes. You know what? That's it. you are now separated from the rest of the swamp.
Good. I'm here to promote and to keep RP Thor's interest front and foremost in everybody's mind and my own.
There you go.
But you know what? I have a prediction for Paul and Apex.
Oh,
And then come on, man. But I do see you kind of, because you have never been like super red pill, controversial, triggering shit kind of guy.
Because I came from outside of this space.
Yeah.
Shit.
Now, except when we're in our own private conversations, if they heard some of that shit, they might think otherwise. But like, you I think have been like the most purest brand in this space, neutral in that sense, and not going either too far one way or too far the other way. And I think that like your brand is actually a rarity that, in my opinion, doesn't need to change. And I definitely think people are going to try to start modeling themselves more after you when they start seeing the negative effect of this, the Mano swamp, starting to rise. They're going to kind of try to position themselves kind of in line with what you do.
Yeah.
And that's how you present things.
You say that. Thanks for saying that too. So when I made a decision to come into the internet and start talking, well, first I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and just in Afghanistan jumping on a video, and not violating OPSEC as best as possible. But when I decided, like, holy shit, like people need this stuff and they actually want to have me, in a consult session, they want to solve problems with me. That's when I shifted, into, okay, let me really think about this. And I was really careful about who I decided to work with. I had, looked at, and I'm not going to speak necessarily, I'm not all about speaking negatively about a bunch of people, but as I started doing searches, like I saw like a lot of those guys out there doing different things. I saw, the 21 convention stuff before things got weird, before the conflicts ensued with everybody there. I saw all this stuff, and I was just very careful of how I wanted to. I didn't want to just align myself with people who, were, I guess, more or less looking for just a space in the market, but without necessarily an expertise, right? At first. And I'm more open working with people now, but I mean, at first I was like, I have to be careful with how I align my brand, because I don't know these people. I don't necessarily know what direction they're going.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have my own stuff. And so like, I'm going to promote my own stuff that I know that works and continue to research and develop. I spent a lot of time reading scientific studies and doing all that stuff, and constantly developing different models and different ways of, people navigating their relationships in the dating market and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And so it's not to say I haven't been influenced by any other creators or anything, but it's like, I just, cause it is open source and everything, but I'm just like, I was very careful about that. And what that did for me in the beginning was I got the effects of the censorship, because I'm not aligned with feminism, but I didn't get the benefits of grifting. I say grift is a bad word, but marketing off of Manosphere or Red Pill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really get those benefits so heavily. I'm not putting Red Pill this, Red Pill that, or I'm not, or MGTOW. That was a big deal. People used to use the word MGTOW a lot until MGTOW got a negative perception. Now, those people went away from that. I never used these other taglines to market myself, which kind of hurt me in the beginning, but I'm okay with that, because now I have a standalone, brand, which is what I am anyway. Like, what I offer is different than what other people offer. And so I'm just going to continue with that going forward. It's going to be slower, but I'll get better at marketing, like, that's just all it is.
I definitely see,
marketing. When I say marketing, not just getting myself out there, but getting myself out there in a way that really preserves the integrity of what I'm trying to do. And I think everybody here that wants to do the same thing, I think you guys need to think about that. Really, you want to preserve the integrity of what you're doing. I think that you have longevity long past Red Pill and Manosphere no longer trending. You know what I mean? You'll have longevity if you build on your own 2 feet, I feel like. But
no, you're right.
Important to pass information along too. And it's a real pleasure to have you in this space, Paul,
No,
for
thanks,
sure.
man.
You know, I came across Rollo's book at the end of 2013, read it in January of 2014, just kind of hung out. Actually, I found the rest of the stuff with your good friend Rich Cooper when he started doing cars. I saw his car stuff and just sat in the background, didn't get into this until late 2017, you know,
Right.
after everybody had already gotten on. But I was on the boards with Ryan before the quarantine. So it was happening even back then. Laurent, I know you wanted to say something, but before we do that, let me acknowledge Captain Blood, one of our new moderators. Thank you so much. Skull, my friend. Appreciate having you on board the DragonShip. This super chat is very well appreciated. Thank you for being such a loyal supporter, guys, and do support the rest of these content creators. We enjoy doing this, and we're always up against the flood of wokeism, so hopefully we can sustain that for a long time to come. Thank you, Captain Blood. Laurent, let's hear from you.
I wanted to praise the work of Paul, actually.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I really, it's interesting because the way you present yourself with your cap and everything, like you say to yourself, like, anybody would think, who's that buff dude? And then you have actually a lot. You're very well researched. And it's interesting because you bridge the academic world with actually the practical stuff, and you solve problems for people who are married, for people who are in long-term relationships. So this is a space that, because a lot of the red pill guys are usually not usually, but a lot of it is an outgrowth from the pickup artistry. But whereas you bridge long-term relationship, very few people in that space do that, and people have real problems. So I really, really appreciate your work and the work that you do with EMDR and the holotropic breathing. That was awesome. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I wish you well.
Thank you, brother.
All right, sounds good. So let's move into our general prediction category. Let's talk about YouTube for a minute, Paul's and Phil's. I read the new user agreement for monetized channels as well, which you guys are going to be affected with, all of us here. And the interesting thing is there is several agreements that you have to agree to in moderation at this point. The one that stood out to me primarily is, the corporate headquarters for YouTube's here in California. And the language that stuck out to me the most, that will probably be a factor for all of us in 2023, and it takes effect, I believe, on the 22nd or 23rd, the new user agreements go into place, is that we essentially become at-will producers now of content. And when I say at-will, it's because in the language for the agreement, I'm not going to put it here, that would get us in trouble, but I will paraphrase it, and you can find out on your own. It's not a problem, but my prediction is it's going to tighten for us here. It's going to be a difficult year on YouTube, because what they state is that if we produce any material that can be perceived as offensive to a protected class, and that protected class is as of an outline federally and here in California, your channel can be deleted without any response back to you. You can appeal it, but they won't give you why, what, wherefore, or how to. It's up to us somehow to disseminate what could be offensive to a protected class. And if you know, a protected class has expanded greatly here in California. It includes gender. It includes race. It includes disability. But it's also expanded beyond that, because it also goes into, leans into, wokeism heavily.
Yeah. So let me ask you a quick question on that. Just so they say basically if it's offensive to a specific or class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Protected class. Okay. So who decides if it's offensive or not?
They do.
Who's
without
they?
any deliberation.
Yeah. But who's they? Is it the person that's watching the content decides that it's offensive, and they report the channel, or is it actually the powers that be that are saying this is offensive and we're going to remove
It's
your
both.
channel?
So
I can tell you.
Okay, so because you see what I'm saying right there, then you have no chance.
You don't.
You don't.
You're like this. You're like this, and you're hitting over here and hitting over here.
Yeah,
but
no,
it doesn't
no
matter.
chance. You
It
can't
doesn't
see.
matter.
Unfortunately, we don't have free speech here.
No.
And so that's just. I mean, knowing how bureaucracies work, I just having worked for big ones, right?
Yeah.
Like it's there. It's whether you get on the radar or not. So the reason I'm shadow banned is because I've done something to get on somebody's radar, probably when I was in Afghanistan and didn't care about what I said. Yep. And I'm not that offensive compared to people out there, but I'm not a part of a protected class. So not being a part of, when you're a part of a protected class, which is, then you can say a lot more things. I couldn't. And therefore somebody somewhere along the line caught whatever I was doing early and decided to somehow flag me in some way. So I'm limited now in how my reach is on my one channel, which is why I started another channel, and we'll see how it goes. And I have to market things differently, but that's how it is. It's like your channel, if you get flagged, and it could be because someone complains, or it could be because their AI picks up keywords or whatever, or imagery. And then somebody like decides to look into it a little more. They have their guidelines. If they're offended, or if they think, oh, this is suspect, then they will go through that process, and they can just remove you, or they'll shadow ban you, or
it's completely irreversible, right?
Yes, and it's just like in all the corporations that are here and exist here. It is always going to be ruled in the favor of what could be perceived as offensive. So even if you don't ever, even if it's not offensive, if somehow here where they're headquartered, it could be deemed as offensive to that class, it's immediate. And that's what it's going to be. And here's the thing, you don't really know where those lines are. And they were stated like that. Look at how many pages are coming out in the new. Now, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I do know for a fact when Elon Musk took Twitter, many employees were gone, and there was an offer made by Google and YouTube to take on those employees. And now we have a new set of user guidelines and end user agreements to move forward, just so that you know. And just to be fair, who did they just put into Twitter's CEO? The 4th largest YouTuber out there? Interesting. With the announcement that videos would soon come to Twitter. So you can see how my prediction is that Twitter will become a player in this space for broadcasting long format video. And that's where I predict we will start to concentrate our content there and on Rumble. And we'll figure that out. But just so that everybody wears, my prediction is YouTube really wants to be a rather left-leaning cable channel.
I definitely think that like anybody that sounds or says the shit that I say, get ready to be canceled, because
there's some. I was gonna say, so I've been completely banned from TikTok. I got banned last year. I was just spouting off like all sorts of crazy stuff back then. I was really getting in on the super straight, like trend. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
You were just making like shit posting jokes and stuff.
Well, I mean, I was posting, useful content, but also just having fun with the thing.
Right.
And so I built up a following to 30,000 followers, and then just overnight, right? But one thing I learned just talking with other creators on TikTok is that there's a whole underground group of like left-wing people that just don't like certain creators, and they will just start sharing posts saying, hey, report this. There's an underground group of people that are actively reporting content like that. And it's there's really nothing you could do about it. The only thing that you could do on platforms like TikTok are, as soon as you see a questionable comment from somebody that, like that person might be offended, like you got to block them. You got to have a strong block button finger, but that's the only thing you can do. And otherwise, you really should take a look at the community guidelines and see how you can color within the lines,
Yeah.
Well, and I think we can all take a lesson here from Donovan Sharp, actually, because he's been, banned on stuff all the time.
Yes.
And he makes sure he's running multiple platforms, and he has people who are just more or less undying fans. And so he gets banned or he gets removed, he opens up a new channel. Like he knows how to do that better than I do. I don't know what I'm doing. So
He's
that's
been
one of
hacked.
my goals this year is to be more diversified in my platforms, to have Rumble. I got my 2 channels here, just because if they don't like something on one, they take it out. The people who actually care about what I'm doing and want to learn from it and benefit from it, they're going to find me. And I need to have multiple ways of doing that.
One
That's
thing
what we all do, I think.
One thing to also note on that is that we don't own any of these platforms. Like they own the platform, so they make the rules. The only thing that we can control is like if we get, like I recommend setting up an email list and getting people on an email list, because that's the only thing that you have control over. And so that's one of the things that I learned after getting banned was it's like so hard to rebuild an audience when you're relatively unknown. So you need to get those people that really like your content to sign up for your email list, you know, not so that you can spam the shit out of them, but so that you could contact them when you get deplatformed, you know, like an Andrew Tate situation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I see us in the future, maybe not 2023, but we'll be using the platform for shorts and select content that may drive us to a freer platform to really get the message across.
That's my model already. That's why I got Apex Inner Game is going to be high quality in terms of production value, well scripted stuff that is not, you know, it's going to put out good information without upsetting people and being as divisive or whatever. It's going to ride that line, right?
Good.
And then it's less content that'll be there, but it'll be there. And from there, it'll filter people to other platforms where I can be more free and behind a paywall. You know, that's really where I think people need to look at going.
Yep. So I got another general prediction for the DragonShip. We're going to try to be more entertaining and be more showman. We do want to do that. We want to work on that, increase our production value. And then, you know, on a more serious note, guys, I want to bring Laurent into this because I think we're still in the midst of a downswing economically worldwide. And a lot of our listeners could have some really hard times. And I want to always bring, you know, offer some kind of support there. Somebody got background. So Laurent, what is your 2023 predictions financially? We know we've been wanting to get there with general predictions, but how is that going to affect the red pill? There's a lot of crypto guys too.
All right. So I'm not in the business of predictions, and mind you not, I actually predicted the 2008 crash.
So you're not in the prediction business, but you did predict the 2008 crash.
Yeah. I have a terrible track record of predicting stuff, but I did predict that one. And actually, it's really a funny story. It was at the end of 2007, walking into 2008. I was at a party, and champagne was free flowing, and there were people from Lehman Brothers, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. Oh yeah, the market's just a downturn. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, dude, next year this is the only year where shit is gonna flow uphill. You know, like all the felons who get free mortgage and everything, the shit is gonna flow uphill, and one of those big houses will fall. Fast forward 1 year down the road, I'm walking into the same party, and then half the room is gone. Like, and one guy runs up to me like, "Dude, no! I didn't do your wife, I didn't do your girlfriend, and I don't do drugs." I was literally about to duck it on the floor. And guys, "No, you predicted the crash." Like, "Oh, really?" Yeah. So actually, I did that. But and this year also, I was fairly bearish. Walking into this year, we had the fifth worst returns of the S&P, not the S&P, the Dow ever. So it's been a terrible year. And I think we're in the beginning of a long-term protracted crisis. Now, how is it going to impact people? Simping is about to be gone. And, you know, like, I'm a strong, independent woman, all that shit. You know, everybody's a strong, independent woman until they have a flat tire. I remember Kevin Samuels, like, there was a chick who showed up one day on Kevin Samuels, and she said, "I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need a man." Fast forward 6 months down the road, like when inflation was kicking in, "I'll shack up with anybody and I'll sit on anybody's eggplant if you fill my gas tank." That's what is called inflation. So this is not going to be pretty. Simping is going out because people have to mend the fences. People have to be more careful, and I would say that we're at the beginning of a long, protracted economical downturn, where there's going to be inflation and a subdued economic crisis.
So is there any flag posts we should look for in 2023 that would kind of tell us where we're headed or where we're at and what we should look out for?
Okay, so that is probably the verbiage that the FOMC, the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee, talks about month after month. So interestingly enough, Jerome Powell, the chair, has been extremely consistent in his approach. So we have to tame inflation. So all the monetary authorities around the world have a dual mandate, give or take. They have a dual mandate of employment and tame inflation. And when they have a choice, they will always default to inflation. The reason being that you don't want to face Weimar, which is a German hyperinflation. You don't want to go down the Venezuela route. You don't want to have Zimbabwe. You don't want to have a Bob Mugabe on your doorstep. So they will tame inflation, which means that they will constrict credit, which means that when credit is constricted, all the first, second, and third derivative of money, which are like the first one is everything that is priced off the 10-year bond, the U.S. Federal 10-year bond. That is the stock market, that is the bond market, that is the real estate market. And there's also the consumer credit. The first derivative of all this is liquidity. If the rent of money is higher, liquidity tends to be constricted. So all this discretionary spending, get the bag, that is gone.
So your advice is save your coins, right? Liquidity is king.
Cash is the currency of bear market. Like at the moment, I'm building reserves of cash. I'm starting another business. I'm building reserves of cash. I'm going to start something else, another business probably in Q2.
Good to hear. I think that's good advice, Phil. So do you think 2023 is going to be another bear year, really?
I think that the market is probably going to rebound a bit. So I don't think we're going to have 2 consecutive years of like seriously down. But I don't think. I mean, what is happening at the moment with disgorging the monetary lavishness that we had because of Corona. So back in 2007, I know I don't do predictions, but I'm going to give you another one. So back in 2007, I wrote that don't worry about the bear market, worry about the next one, because if we had the bear market, which we had with Corona, the monetary authorities are going to burn the furniture to heat up their buildings. They're going to sell their mother-in-laws to a merchant slave, as they should by default. And we go for the monetization. And so they're going to do anything possible to prop up the market, which they did. And then when this is done, all the traditional ways of curtailing this are gone. So we're going into a deleveraging cycle, and this is not going to be a pretty one. Which means that the values of properties are coming down, and they will keep on coming down. So
there might be buying opportunities might be there then.
Buying opportunities, yeah, later, probably later.
Good. We can explore that in later shows. I know we're getting a lot of feedback from your mic right now. Let's get over to Apex Mindset. Thank you so much. Do you want to say anything? I mean, we got some guys listening.
Yeah, just thanks for the support. Keep supporting Thor's channel here. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you do that. And go over to Apex Inner Game and subscribe there if you haven't yet. And Apex Mindset as well if you've never heard of me before. And that's it.
Paul.
All right.
I appreciate that so much. Appreciate you coming in, guys. We are at the end, so we're going to do a wrap real quick here. I know that, but let's go ahead and let's do a quick round table. You know what? I forgot something. Let me just do this. I actually had set up for everybody that did a super chat. Let me see if I can get there. Everybody did a super chat. I did set this up so that when I showed them, instead of the horn like Fresh and Fit, I got one that's fitting of a thunder god. There you go, Danny. First one. And of course, we ended up with our good.
Hey, that thunder clap sounds really familiar.
Captain Blood. There you go. So I didn't forget about that. And remember, you guys, trigger warning. Trigger warning. Here we go. $5. Trigger warning. They took you up on your challenge, Glenn.
Yep.
I will
Are
deliver.
you going to get us demonetized at this point?
Thank you guys for the super chats because now we're gonna need it. But no, I'll say mine at the very end.
Okay.
I timely manner.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate that. And Wade Emery, one of our loyal Vikings. Let's go ahead and let's just say hi to Wade. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. I'll see you on the Dragons membership next Tuesday. So if anybody wants to know what that is, we'll tell you at the end. And that's next Tuesday. Phil Foster is putting a program together for all of the Dragons in the Dragons membership next Tuesday. You don't want to miss it. Okay. Shall we do a quick wrap up?
Yes, sir. Let's start with Randall.
Okay.
So you guys will see me here on the Dragon Ship. I'm in the chats for the Dragons membership if you guys choose to sign up there. Other than that, you'll see me maybe on Phil's channel. I'm working with him to get down into fitness and get into shape this year. So other than that, it's like make sure you guys subscribe to the other channels, the other panel members that have their channels, and make sure to support them in their efforts.
Hey, Randall, real quick. How much weight did you lose since starting Phil's program?
So I'm down. I think I'm about, I want to say 12 pounds down.
And you only been on it for like what, 2 months now, right?
About a month and a half, yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
Look at that, guys. That's real results. Real results. So if getting into shape and getting into fitness is your goal this year, hit up philfosterfitness.com and get on a plan. Randall is a living receipt to prove that the product works.
Yep. And we'll be
He's a real life
getting
receipt.
much more coaching if you join the Dragon Ship. And if you can, contact Glenn and Randall to use their codes to get into the Dragon Ship. It helps the whole program and it actually supports this channel. It's growth. So,
We got another one, Thor.
here we go. We know it. Let's show it. How come it's not showing? There. Yeah, Thunderstruck. How about that AC/DC, huh? We'll give you a double there, Danny. I'm going to have to get a series of those for the different levels, I suppose, in the future, you know. We'll get the
I can make them for you if you want.
And then we might blow the war horn if we get higher super chats. That would be good.
Yeah.
You know.
Laurent, what you got going on, bud?
Unmute, please. Let's do our final wrap.
Okay. Are
Aren't you're working on a program, right?
Oh yes. So with the Ryan Fowler is a hypnotherapist. I'm a client of his. I've been a client of his.
Intermasculine.com, correct?
Yeah. And this guy changed his life. He changed mine. So he has got the receipt. Like there's very clearly a before and after. There's immediate transformation that happens on the day. So we've been talking a few times, and we came up with something that could change lives in my world, which is the world of money, finance, trading, and so on and so forth, and also the conversations we have about money. Like I did for you, Thor. I did it for King Dre. I did it for John MLD. Shout out to MLD. A few people, there's conversations about money, and we're thinking about doing something together, collaboration, and that could literally change lives. So now at the moment, I'm in the research phase. I'm digesting all the books about trading psychology, money psychology, and so on and so forth. Thank you, ChatGPT AI. And this thing is about to change lives, because if we look at it, like the Maslow pyramid, every layer of the Maslow pyramid is permeated with money. And all the conversations we have, money is somewhere in. So, but deep down, we all think that I'm not good enough. So if the foundations of who we are start with I'm good enough, if the foundations of our money are not good enough, then everything else we do on top is either an adaptation or a palliative, a correction. But still the foundations remain the same. So the thing that we have in mind and the thing that we'll have in store, but it's going to come in Q2 and Q3. So at the moment, we just sketch it, but it's going to be absolutely fabulous. So that was it for me, and it's been an honor. And thank you very much for having me on this panel with this one, gentlemen. I'm honored. I'm humbled and honored.
Thank you, Laurent. And just so that our new chat members understand, Laurent is a very high-end business man, and he is a quant trader based out of Tokyo. He's our international component of the DragonShip, remote Berserker Viking that supports us, and we appreciate that. It's nice to see a good camera on you. We'll get that microphone fixed so we can really hear what's going on next time. Thank you.
Thor, we just got to call it what it is. Laurent is a baller. Okay. He is like,
he has a sailing ship, I believe. A yacht. It's a sailing ship, right?
You
sold your sailing ship?
Yeah, I sold my yacht, but I sail with another friend who has a lovely 50-footer. I just kite surf. Like I went kite surfing a couple of weeks ago, and it was 5 degrees and it was snowing. It was awesome. This is how you do it. And it was like 40 knots. Sorry about my microphone.
And we got a super chat. Thank you, guys. Oh, look at here. We got another one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Abdel.
Paul from Come On Man. Come on, man. What's going on?
Come on, man. Man. I love that war horn, man. That's badass. So Glenn mentioned at the beginning of the show, I have a law of attraction course. It's chick crack free. I'm getting lots of great feedback on it. There's coupons for it in the description of this week's episode. So if you go and check out my podcast, look in the description, you'll find a link to it and also a coupon. That coupon's limited though. Like I limited it to 50 people, and a lot of people are taking me up on it already. So there's only a few left. So get on that. It's really about, getting your mind right, reprogramming your subconscious mind so that you can, achieve goals that are so big, it will blow your mind. Other than that, subscribe to the podcast. If you go to comeonmanpod.com, I'm available on all major podcast platforms, and the Monday's episode is going to be on owning your shit and not being afraid of your woman's emotional state. So check that one out.
Guys, you got to go see Come On Man podcast. This guy is underrated. He has got brilliant gems of wisdom and practical advice that you really need. I mean, he's been through a tough divorce, had to learn it the hard way, and he's got game and understands why attraction is critical and why it must always be maintained as a part of a man's burden of performance. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you.
Yeah. And you guys got to check out his TikToks because his TikToks are hilarious.
They're the best, man.
They're fucking hilarious.
Watch him on Instagram though, because TikTok hates me.
Same here. Don't worry about that. Thor, I'm going to be saving myself for last just because of the trigger warning.
All right. So for me, guys, find me on Rule Zero. Find me here on the DragonShip. And I just want to promote the Dragons membership. Guys, $47 a month. Right now, we got 24 guys in there, more than 24, and we've got all the big names that come in there occasionally and present their materials basically for the membership. You get to get seminars, webinars, courseware, all of that stuff as a Dragon. The Dragon membership's $47 a month. You're not going to find a better deal anywhere. It's 3-hour Zoom meeting video once a month on the second Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And in addition to that, I do my lecture series there. You get to see stuff that never gets published on YouTube. And on top of that, every Dragon becomes an affiliate. So there is earning opportunity there as well as a direct affiliate. And you also get a unique opportunity for anybody that's in this space that wants to actually grow their social abilities. What is that, Thor? Well, you can get on the schedule as a Dragon member to present or teach your own lecture or public presentation, much like they used to do at the Toastmasters meetings. If this is something you fear, fear not, because you have men there that will support you and teach you and how to speak in front of many other men. Believe it or not, this improves so many men's lives, because once you can do that and you can talk to a crowd and learn how to tell a story, it's something that every man needs to have in order to establish himself with other men. This is how hierarchies are built, the ability to communicate and connect with other men. It's super powerful, and it's also a very attractive skill to learn. And where better do you get to learn it except in a all men's membership? It can't be brick and mortar anymore. No, that's not allowed, but we can certainly do it on the internet in private. And you can, you can embarrass yourself there. You're only going to take a little bit of shit and hone your skills. So I encourage everybody to come in, join the Dragons membership. At the end of this broadcast, I'll play a little bit on how you can join. And that's really all I got. So 2023 is going to be a lot of opportunities, even though we're looking at some things that can be rather difficult for many of us in the space. There's always a silver lining. The tide's always rising. And that's it for me.
All right. Well, here we go, guys. So here's my 2023 predictions. I'm just going to be very blunt when I say this. A lot of the content creators that you may be aware of or follow here in this space will be exposed. I think that there's going to be a reckoning coming in this space. People are going to be, to say the least, Jack Murphy'd. Their skeletons in their closet will leak out. And if they don't get ahead of it and they don't correct it, you're going to see them fall off. Also, you're going to see a lot more red meat when it comes to debating and beefing. We're already seeing that as it is now with Alex from Playing with Fire trying to call out Rolo again yesterday on Saucecast, which I don't even know why he would do that. He lost to me in the debate on the same things that he wants to debate Rolo on. He's an idiot. Anyways, you're going to see a lot of things like that, but these people are going to get their card pulled. You're going to see a lot of people getting exposed for not being congruent. And I'm talking about from top names all the way down to, the smallest, influencer on this space. And it's going to be imperative, very imperative, that everybody starts being able to bring the evidence and bring facts when they are on stream, because you're going to be getting your cards pulled. And one of the things people are going to be pulling cards is I am pulling cards. I already have a little segment of, called Calling Out Names. And get ready to see some interesting people who I end up calling out for not being congruent in this space, because we need fact checkers like everybody else does. And you know what? We're going to see some names getting dropped. So just fair warning, hey, and it could even be me. It could even be me. And it's not, red meat in the sense of trying to cause beef, but you know what? It's in the sense of like, hey, iron sharpens iron. Let's be real. It's time to be real again, because there's a lot of, internet gangsters and internet, tough guys out here in this manosphere swamp that are, capitalizing on a lot of people. So just look out. Don't be surprised if you don't see some of your favorite content creators by the end of the year. That's all I got to say with that one.
All right. Bring us back to the panel and we'll get out of here, guys. Thank you so much. I got one thing to add for 2023. Pick up that meat hammer and swing it hard.
Oh yeah. If you like this video, make sure to check out the DragonShip's YouTube page, where you'll get all our latest videos, hottest clips, and live streams. And make sure to like and subscribe. And aboard the Dragon. Let's go. And if you haven't already, join Thor's The Dragons membership. It's a men's monthly interactive video meeting in cyberspace. This is a masculine place for men that is censorship free, to increase your performance as well as converse and leverage ideas, and get coaching consultations on how to handle life's issues in a modern world. This is a unique place. This is a discreet place, and it's the place for men. So what are you waiting for? Join the Dragons membership, link below. Make sure to get your own copy of Thor's Dominant Masculine Presence lecture. hour-long lecture that teaches extremely valuable simple techniques to improve your dominant masculine presence. You will learn how easily it is to begin building the foundation of your masculine presence and make yourself into a dominant masculine man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to go after it. So what are you waiting for? Buy now if you want to learn how to become a man who isn't afraid to go after and get what he wants.